Welcome to the Heads Up Poker Podcast. This is Steve Barton, and I'm here with...
This is Mike Snyderman, poker player, I think.
You think? Maybe?
Steve, I'm not going to be... I don't know what my A game is for podcasting, but, you know, I just like I told you, I was irresponsibly not here and available when we were supposed to start this because I was finishing up a little 22-hour session where I, once again, lost a whole lot of dough.
Oh.
So, and it, it's perfect timing because yesterday you were like, well, let's talk about the psychologically, how to prepare for a session and how, not to tilt and how to play your optimal game. And, yeah. So you are the student. You are the teacher. I'm the student.
Well, when did it start? Did you start playing last night or what?
Yeah, I don't know. I was down down $1,500 within like 20 minutes. This one woman who's, I didn't play with her the day before yesterday, but everyone was talking about her. My God, you just got to play ABC poker. She raises, she's crazy. She's doing, And, no, long story short, on a 3-heart board, I had a pair of queens with 3 hearts underneath, and I had 4-bet pre-flop, and she had flatted. I can't remember the way the action. Well, basically, I shoved it in drawing dead. She had the nut flush, and this was just not a person. You're just gonna basically have to, probably gonna check raise you every hand, and you're just gonna have to pay off. But it was pretty bad, and. Long story short, I guess around midnight, I was in my third buy-in, but was up a little bit on that. I think I had like 2,700 in my stack, so I was down, 2,300 because I was in for a little more than 3 buy-ins even. So I decided to go to 5-10 table. The 5-5 table was just slow, and people are knitting it up, and I wasn't, I wanted to chase it. And 5-10, I pretty much just kind of treaded water up and down a little bit for a few hours. And then finally at like 3 a.m., the table pretty much goes dark. There's just me and this guy left. And it's like, okay, do you want to play heads up? And this guy's a lot of people think he's one of the weaker players there. He's just like crazy, and he always builds up a huge stack and then bluffs it off. So, I was willing to play him. And when I started playing him, I had like $2,200 or something, and I got it up to like 6,300.
Nice.
And that's when I should just be getting the hell out of there. This is very similar to the other time I played heads up 10-20, where, I was stuck. And that was the only reason I was playing. And, yeah, I mean, I just should have, I don't know if you want to quickly, the one hand, which I'll be stewing over was, and like I said, this is a guy who will just shove crazy stuff on I had the second nut flush, and when the board paired on the river, he jammed it all in.
Ooh.
And I think I had about $950 in the pot. And this is when I had maybe like 5,000. Me and him were like equal stacks. So this was it. If I called and I had it, I would pretty much have busted him and had like $10,000.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I thought I had an edge on the guy. I think he had it because I sort of built against this guy just by letting him take the charge, take the lead in hands, and just, check calling 2 or 3 streets. He'd just barrel away. I'd call with my second pair and be good. And, so anyways, he'd seen how I kind of played big hands sort of passively.
Yeah.
So like I said, the 2 red queens and the flop was 9, 10, king, all of hearts. And he check raised me. I probably bet like 100, and he made it like 400, and I called.
Yeah.
And the turn was another heart. So now I'm beaten by the ace of hearts here. He bet, he took forever and then bet 500, and I called.
Yeah.
And then the river brought another 9, so the board was paired now. 4 to a flush. I mean, obviously... Yeah, there's a lot. I think he probably had it. I don't know. I mean, it might have been. But this would be the one guy who you'd say, oh, yeah, he's capable of, especially since I had played pretty passively, just check calling. Like I said, I was prepared to snap him off for $1,500 or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And but it was a big major overshove of the pot, and he might have just said, okay, this guy's got the ace of hearts, and thank God I just hit my
boat.
Hit my boat, or I don't care if he hits his boat. I'm going to shove it in there, and then hell with it if for some reason I'm wrong.
Well, let's see. Would he do that with like a jack of hearts, you think?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, I don't know that he was. Well, the jack of hearts, I think, was out there. I think it was the king of hearts, the jack of hearts, and the nine of hearts, or maybe it was. I can't remember. I had
You had the queen of hearts, so he couldn't have had a straight flush.
No.
So he would have had to do that with the 10 of hearts?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, he could have had just the ace of hearts, obviously,
Well, yeah, but I'm
flush,
trying to think if you did have him beat, then that means that he was doing it with the 10 of hearts or less.
Right. Yeah. Or nothing. He had ace king off, the king
or just
flop,
air.
and he just kept barreling, but he'd seen me enough where the biggest pots I've won were just like, okay, I'm surrounded by a bunch of guys who just go bet, 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 bet. And, so I think he knew, I mean, when I call him on the turn, like if he does, for some reason, if he doesn't have the ace of hearts, when I call, like, that's exactly how I would play the nuts there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I guess if I put him on a set, maybe there's some value in bluffing him off it, but pretty much, I think I made a proper laydown. And after that, I mean, the run bad, I don't know who to blame it on. I mean, the run bad was pretty ridiculous. I mean, like, again, I had queens cracked when he hit a 7 on the river, and he had pocket 7s for a set. And that was a big, like, $1,500 pot.
Yeah.
And it seemed like every time the river was always like his, but I mean, there was like at least 3 times where it would be like 4 to a straight on the river.
Yeah.
And I would pay him off though. You know what I mean? Like I would have top 2 pair, and I'm like, okay, he stuck around with a straight draw. This is exactly. And so I don't know, but I mean, like I said, the month has been so terrible. I can't blame it on luck. You know what I mean? I can. I mean, there's been so many big pots where I've got it in good or whatever. But yeah, man, I'm in shambles. I mean, economically and just poker wise, but confidence and everything. But I can still pretend to be having some measure of expertise here if we want to discuss. Yeah, I don't know if there are any other interesting, too many other interesting hands. I mean, for some reason. Yeah, I think I just bluffed too much. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about like the heads up as a whole. It's funny, after this past Sunday where I shipped the tournament, I was, I looked at my stats there on, official poker rankings, and I saw that of my last 16 heads up matches, I'm under this new name that I have on this site, I have 14 first places and only 2 second places.
That's impressive.
So that so I can kind of consider, this kind of to be my forte, but cash is totally different, like kind of my standard, especially like when you're down to like 30, 40, 50, whatever bigs where every chip matters, is like late street aggression. Cause so many people are like aggressive with the 3 and the 4 bet of the check raise, but I like to do like raising turns and rivers.
Okay.
Which I think just to tournament players just looks super strong, but I don't know if I could, my river bluff profitability. I'd hate to try to calculate that because it's not very good, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, it was ridiculous run bad, but it just feels like I'm like, geez, a solid player would have just got him and cleaned him up regardless of, that's kind of what it feels like to me. So anyways, so what did I do wrong? Well, many things. We got a long list of things. I mean, there's bankroll management.
Well, let's start with some of the things you're doing right. Let's some of the things I think you're doing right is that
Steve, don't kid glove this, man. Give it to me straight.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna.
I need a spanking, not a hug right now. No. No, that's fine. Well, I don't know what I am doing right. I don't know.
I think some of the things you're doing right is you're trying to play against players that are weaker than you. Okay, so like when you played heads up with this guy, you think you got an edge on him, and you're probably right, you do. So I think that that's good. You're playing at a casino that is close to you, so you're minimizing your travel time. That's important. because adding time driving there is just taking away time from the tables, and it's that's when you could be making money. So that's good. I think it's good that you're doing cash and not tournaments, because there's going to be lower variance in cash than there is in tournaments. I think if there's one suggestion I can make, if there's one thing that you could do maybe differently, is just play lower stakes within your bankroll, because you're going to, like, these swings are normal and they're natural, and the pros have them and everybody has them. You've just got to have the bankroll to sustain it.
Right.
If you were sitting there with 200K in the bank, then 14K down 1 month and up 15 the next, and like that would just be, that'd be nothing.
Exactly.
Each buy-in that you're buying in for would be less than 1% of your bankroll, and this added stress that's coming onto you is just because you can see that your bankroll is going way up and way down and way up and way down. I would just say just play lower stakes.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I think getting a job is there's no longer any other options other than that, because I got at least. But like I said, I'm giving myself to New Year's before I enter that horror show.
I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe that is the best thing to do, is to go work at a place, and that'll make you realize that wow, I have to work an entire hour and a half to get one big blind at 10:20.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, like,
and like, after taxes, you got to work like 3 hours. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, I've done that a couple times before, where like, I think that's what started my major like comeback after like my hideous first month here and having like a great November, was like I was like stuck a couple thousand, I forget, at 5.5, and there was a seat over the 5.10 thing. I'm like, okay, what the hell? And it's just gambling, I guess, when you go that mentality. But I went over there and, like, I forget, ran 1,600 into 7,500 or something in a couple hours. I mean, it still seems like whatever table I'm, there's bad players there who I have an edge on, but I don't know if that's
bad players still get lucky,
right? But yeah, it doesn't even mean that I'm plus EV at the table, just because I can look at one goofball in the end and say, Jesus, he's terrible. But could be a terrible guy that's like not giving a heck of a lot of action, and it's just he's not going to make up for the hourly and the couple other pros for all the the rake, and for the couple other pros there who have an edge on me. So I apologize, by the way, if I'm just babbling in all directions, because like literally, yeah.
No, you haven't slept in a day, so.
Yeah. And it's just, it was one of those things where, and then of course, like I said, the guy was getting lucky back to this heads up thing. And then so finally at the end there, I forget, like he raised my big blind from he raised it to 60, and I shoved $1,100 in there with ace queen ace queen suited. And he called with pocket fours, which was, the guy had like 9,000 in front of him. So he's got a pair. I can't blame him. And of course he hits a set. And luckily my misery was over. Right. I was actually, I think it was 479. So I was actually, I was not even a backdoor flush or anything. Yeah. Drawing dead on the flop. So yeah, I don't know what to do, man. Yeah. You're, like I said, I know you're a big Jared Tendler fan. And you realize right from the get-go that like the mental game and preparation and all that is like essential.
One thing I do is that, and I've kind of, well, maybe I haven't always done it, but I do have to get my mind right before I go play. And by that, I mean, if like my wife and I have gotten into some kind of argument or something, I'm not going to go play until we've resolved that, or until I'm clear and 100% of my focus is on the game. If I, and I think it makes sense if you think about it. You don't want to, if your dog just died, you don't want to go sit down at a poker table. If something's going on in your personal life that you can't focus 100% of your effort on the game, you don't want to be risking any money, because although you may win in the short term, if you do that over the long run, you're not going to. And then I read Jared Tendler's book, and he talked about having, I think he calls it a warm-up routine or a pre-playing ritual or something like that. And which I had kind of already done, but after reading that book, if you guys haven't heard of it, it's called The Mental Game of Poker. It's by Jared Tendler. Well worth reading. Um, and he talked about having like a warm-up routine and then a cool-down routine, almost like before you go to the gym and when you get home, And so I started doing that with poker. And it helps a lot because it only takes me about, I don't know, 5 minutes or so to go through it, but it really kind of clears my mind. Everything else is out of my head, and now I can just focus on the cards and playing and, what could this guy have? What does this guy think I have? I'm not in the back of my mind. I'm not thinking about, okay, after I'm done playing poker, I got to go home. I got to feed the dog. My wife and I are going to go see a movie. None of that is entering my head. I know that I'm playing here for the next 4 hours, and I'm going to leave at 6 o'clock. And, and then after that, I'll worry about what I'm going to do after that. But for right here, right now, this is all I'm thinking about. And so for me, what I do is before I go in for a session, I do a couple of like breathing exercises, and I've heard other pros talk about this, about doing meditation and stuff. I have dabbled with meditation, and it seems to help. But for me, I do like these kind of deep breathing exercises, and it kind of clears my mind, and I almost feel like a little bit lightheaded when I do it, and kind of like little tinglies kind of on my face. I think it's just from too much oxygen getting to your brain, but it definitely after that, it's 100% difference. Like I don't have any of those random thoughts going on in my head. It's just like everything's like just calm and relaxed, and I feel like very very peaceful. And then after that, then I go into the bathroom, and actually now we got a full length mirror, which is better. If you have a full length mirror, this one is best. If you can see from the top of your head down to your feet, we got one in the bedroom. So I go into the bedroom, and I talk to myself in the mirror, and I got this from a book. It was called The Magic of Believing. It was written back, I think, in World War II or something. It's a pretty old book, but it's very good. It talks about this, and he calls it the mirror exercise. And so I talk to myself in the mirror, and I look at myself directly in the eye. So like my right eye, I look at the right eye of my reflection in the mirror, and I talk to myself, and I say, I basically just talk myself up before a session. And so I'll say something like, you know when to call, you know when to fold, you know when to bet, and you know how much to bet. You know when to raise, and you know the exact right amount to raise. You know when you can pull off a great bluff, and you know when you're doing it against a calling station, and he's going to pick you off. I just talk myself up, and I go through the session, and I'll say, you're a great player. You make great reads, and you make great folds, and you make great calls, and you make great raises at the exact right times. You can tell when people have it, and you can tell when people don't. You befriend people around you. The first thing you do when you sit down at the table is you befriend the guy to your left, because that's probably where some of your money is going to go. You got to befriend him first, then befriend the people around you. Make sure everyone at the table is friendly with you and happy with you that you're there, because if you're friendly with people at the table, then they're less likely to put in that value bet at the end and get you for a little bit more money. They're more likely to just kind of check and go, I got top pair, when they know that you got middle pair and you're calling them down. I just talk myself up into the mirror. So the breathing exercise takes, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes. I just do it until I kind of feel a little bit kind of tingly, lightheaded, and then just kind of calm. And then I go into the bedroom, and I talk to myself in the mirror. And then after that, I'm right. For a online session, I already have my computer up. So what I do is I watch a little motivational video. So I guess the whole routine is maybe 10 minutes, because it's about 5 minutes between the breathing and the mirror. And then I watch or listen to a YouTube video. Just type in motivational speech, and I listen to it on the way to the casino. And it'll be, just look up a motivational speech. Arnold Schwarzenegger's got a great one. There's a whole bunch of them that you can listen to it just on the way to the casino. And that kind of pumps me up and gets me ready to play. So for that whole warm-up routine, as Jared Tendler describes it, It's all about just getting my mind right and getting me mentally focused only on poker. Nothing else. I'm not thinking about bills. I'm not thinking about, oh, I got to buy this guy a Christmas present, or I got to do this, or I got to do that. There's none of that is else in my mind. The only thing that I'm doing is I'm focused on poker. And another thing I'll do too is if I get to the card room and I'm a little bit tired, I don't play. And I don't mean I drive all the way there and drive home. I mean, what I do is I sit in my car and I listen to a meditation tape for about 20 minutes. I've got a few of them. I'll look them up right now. You can go on hypnosisdownloads.com and they have a whole bunch of them. I'll look at, okay, here's the list. I'm looking on my phone right now. One is believe in yourself, desire to succeed, start your own business, think big, create winning ideas, create real passion, build unshakable self-belief, generate laser focus. This is the one that I usually listen to before a session, is generate laser focus. And I tell you what, it works. Believe it or not, I can vouch for it. It is 100% real. This stuff works. Develop an unstoppable work ethic, create unbeatable optimism, think like a millionaire. So the one I usually listen to is generate laser focus or develop an unstoppable work ethic before a session, or sometimes one of the belief ones. But that's what works for me. And, I think it's really important to get your mental state, just 100% focused on the game. And that way you're, you don't have any of those little distracting thoughts coming in there. If you're only 70 or 80% focused on the game and the other 30% of your subconscious is thinking about, bills are due at the end of the month. I got to pay the rent. I got to do this. I got to do that. Then you're only 70% in the game, and you're going to miss those little opportunities where, like you missed a value bet on the river against a calling station, or little things like that add up.
Yeah, man, you and I are very different. I mean, obviously this stuff works and some very smart people follow it, but I'm just like, I don't know what it's a character flaw, just a real aversion to any like self-help kind of stuff. I don't know that it's, but, yeah, I don't know. The funny thing online, I'm pretty disciplined. I mean, the number one thing when I'm grinding online tournaments is don't start tournaments if you're not going to be able to be awake at 2 or 3 in the morning.
That's very true.
Because, like when I was living east, the major tournaments would start at 7 or 8 p.m. And then, if I were to ship one, it would probably be like 3 in the morning or something.
At least, yeah.
And I didn't always follow that, but usually it's pretty good. Like even like if I didn't have a lot of sleep the night before, I'd come back from delivering mail and I'd take like a quick like 30-minute power nap.
That's good.
And so that was the big one. And again, I was often like talking to a friend and watching a movie and doing and surfing the internet and playing the tournament. So it was less than total attention. But at least I was physically able to do it more often than not. And the other one was not that this is like a major problem for me, but not to drink and play poker. Mm-hmm. Basically that adds to the fatigue thing. But if I go out for dinner, I'll let myself have 1 beer. That's it. If I more than 1 beer, you shouldn't be playing poker. At least for tournaments where you have to, not like a cash game where you can just get up whenever you want and go to the bathroom or something. Obviously at a poker tournament, you can't move swiftly. You can't leave and miss hands or doze off. And yeah. So, showing up at the casino, if I were trying to break down my emotional, you could argue that after going down the one buy-in, it was time to get the hell out of there. But, I stayed and fought and played good poker and then was ahead again. But then I guess this is where it's it wasn't even about the session. It's like good. I said, wow, I can clean this guy out. I can walk out of here with $11,000. That almost gets me even for the month. Never mind getting up for, so, yeah, I'm not thinking about playing good poker at that moment. Obviously I'm just thinking about, just looking for a big payday, which is not, the way you go about it. Sometimes you have those big days, but, yeah, I don't know. It's funny. The one guy who I text with about poker, and he says, I'm sure nobody from work or from the casino will probably hear this, but I told him about what happened last night. He gives me these long text messages about, listen, you just tilt way too often. You pay people off way too much. You know the game, but you got to deal with the emotional stuff, blah, blah, blah. I thought the last thing he says is, by the way, if you tell anyone of any of this, I'll have to kill you. It goes against the poker, because he's got friends who are like the top guys there, and I'm paying them off, sometime. They're making money off me. So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like against, if like an amateur says, did I do something wrong with that hand? Would you have done it differently? You just go, you were in a tough spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they sometimes they'll turn to people who they think are pros and like, even like a couple times when guys, what was that? I'm like, well, I got an equity calculator right here. I think a couple of people looked at me like I did the calculations for the guy. And I don't think that's a big deal because like if an amateur has an equity calculator, it's not really an edge too much. You know what I mean? If they lack a theoretical foundation of the game and, basically don't understand position and bet sizing and, just knowing that the equity is not going to do anything other than, make them feel better about themselves, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, man, I don't know what to say here. Like I said, yeah, everything you're saying is true. Although a lot of it, I think just, poker's been like I feel like my life has been like, I won't even get into it of, relationships, this and that. Like my son been living across the country. My life's often like totally chaotic. And it's like, poker, even though it's one of the more stressful things out there for me is like, like riding a bicycle. Or that's how I felt about myself, at least until recently. But like I said, yeah, I don't know. All I know is the next time I go in there, I can't even think about all that's been going on this month and all the just being just getting variance kicked in the nuts every time and just try to like, hand by hand, just play good poker and be ready to make good decisions.
Well, could you go in the next time you play and just play it 2-3?
I don't know. I could say I could lie to you and say I'm considering it, but basically I've got like 3,000 or 4,000 in my pocket, and I got a couple buy-ins, and then it's I'm either going to start building up and start winning at that game, which I should be doing, or if not, then it's back to just doing working a job, finding a full-time job, and then doing the same thing I did before, which is just, grinding up a bankroll online, playing tourneys and hopefully making, like I said, I think $25-$30 an hour is what I make doing that. So,
now what is it that's stopping you from, I remember, last episode you said something about waving the white flag. Is it that the other, pros that are there, they'll see that you've stepped down to 2-3 and it would be embarrassing, or is it that you feel like you should be able to win at 5-5 and what is it that's holding you back from that?
Yeah. I just feel I'm good enough to beat 5-5. Yeah. It's just, money bankroll management. Yeah. If you have 3,000, you should not be taking $1,500 out for one buy-in where you can, lose aces to kings the first hand. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like I have a dollar amount in my bank that I'm not going to go below, and it's just when I get to that point. Yeah, like I said, my grind it back up plan is just because it's what I've done before, and I know it'll work. Will be just to not stop playing cash and grind online tournaments and get the money going that way. But you may be right. Even if I commit to just doing the online tournament thing and just accept the fact that I'm just much better as a tourney player than a cash player, I should be working on my cash game, and that should be 2-3 once a week.
Yeah.
So if I give up the notion that I could be a full-time cash game player, which is pretty much where I'm at, then yeah, we'll switch to that. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm not going to try to justify it, but I've got whatever. I've got a couple more buy-ins for 5-5, and if I lose them, then I'm done with that game. Then I got to decide what's next. Do I play 2-3 or do I? But yeah, man. I wish I could. I know everything you're saying is right. That I've got to totally focused on the mental, emotional part of it.
Yeah.
And I do that until I get a bad beat. No, it isn't even the bad beat. I don't know. You just, yeah. I mean, this month has been really. I mean, nobody wants to hear the bad beat stories of everyone else and stuff. And I'm sure I've been I have not been playing poker long enough to say that what I've been experiencing here is somehow more, mathematically skewed towards the ridiculousness than because some people are talking. Oh no, they're like, oh no, you can run bad for like 8 months.
That sounds like too long to me.
Yeah, I don't know, but like literally, like every time I've gone in there,
maybe if you play once a month, then you can run bad for 6 or 8 months. But
I mean, if you want, I can pull up my little spreadsheet here that I have, and it just curious. I'm going to see last month. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 winning sessions and 3 losing sessions.
Last month,
16 and 3. This month, and again, this is all kind of skewed because a couple of my winning sessions, a couple of these losing sessions there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them for more than 2,000. So they're all, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It looks like, oh, no, I'm sorry. Let me go way back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 losing sessions and 7 winning sessions. But
the losers are big and the winners are small?
Yeah, I have, pretty much. Yeah, only one of the losing sessions is under $2,000. I mean, it's just, and I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 winning sessions and 9 losing sessions. And last month it was, would I say 16 and 3?
Yeah.
So I don't know if
how many hours did you play last month and this month?
It looks like last month I played about 130 hours.
That's a lot. And what'd you play this month?
So yeah, I mean that's 40 hours a week pretty much, so that'd be about, but and so this month probably a lot less because like I said, I played all those Harrah's tourneys, but no, I'm about 120 hours this month. So yeah, we're heading towards a little lighter, but yeah, I mean it's just 16 and 3 versus 7 and 9, and like I said, the 9 has just been there's been 3 of them are more than $5,000. It looks like. I mean that's so I don't know, just really really bad, man. I'm trying to think if there's something mentally different. I guess I remember I think maybe we discussed this, the Jared Tendler breaking down tilt, the different kinds of tilt.
Yeah, entitlement tilt and anger tilt and
revenge tilt and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you take a couple really hideous beats and then you're like, okay, F it. I've got top 2 pair. It's going to hit this time, even though the guy obviously is a damn flush kind of thing. You know what I mean? So maybe you just, some of these big hands, you just are not playing properly because of your overall.
Well, it sounds like it. If you got 2 pair and the guy's got a flush, you're trying to 4 outs and you're
right. Well, I can't even. I don't know if that hand happened, but there's definitely a few times where I'm like, well, I had one last night, and which was kind of funny, which was the typical. It wasn't. I think it was probably a call because I 4-bet pre-flop and they called, and then somebody donk led and somebody else flatted, and then I raised. I don't even know the math, but I had pocket kings, and the flop was like 9-4 deuce, and so after I raised the donk better and the flatter, this guy takes about 2 seconds before jamming it in, and I think he only had like $700 or $800 in chips to start. And I had probably 2,000, and I was just like, I'm not folding. I mean, I sat there just like looking at him. I'm like, I've been watching the guy play. He plays like one hand an hour. I try to convince myself afterwards. I'm like, well, let's just pretend he could have 10s or jacks here, to make myself feel better calling with the kings. I called with the kings, and I got a king on the turn, and he had a set of 4s.
I was gonna say you probably had a set.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look at the math. I was getting like 2-1 on the call. There's no flush draw out there. He never has like 3-5 or some sort of straight draw.
Yeah.
So the guy was kind of really pissed off and a little bit tilty. So I guess you could, um, yeah, it was just a bad call, I guess. I mean, I don't know what I discussed it with a few of the guys at the table. They're like, dude, you got kings. What are you going to do? You only $500 more. There's, $1,300 in the pot or whatever it is. So, but, yeah, I guess that would be I knew he had a set and I'm like, well, how about I be the one who gets the damn 2-outer this time? Seeing how it's happened like 3 times to me this month. And, so I don't know. And I don't know a couple of my near misses and the tourneys there all back to back to back there where I had like the 3 final tables in like a week or two and, 8th, 9th and 10th and missed out on some real money, which could have, especially the LA Open there where first place was like 130K. I don't know if sort of the early month tournament frustrations might have led to this debacle that's going on this month.
Well, even if you do get a first and you get 130K, you've got to handle the emotional part first, because it doesn't matter how much money you get. You'll just bump up to 510 or 1020. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I'd like to give myself credit that if I actually had my first 6-figure score is going to be involved, and it's not going to just be all part of the poker bankroll. But, yeah, I would be the sort of person you'd expect would just use the money, just jump in a higher game and go off to the Bahamas for the PCA and fire 2 bullets into the 10K, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think I'm a little smarter than that, but, maybe I'm giving myself too much credit. But, yeah, I don't know where I'm at here, man. I know I haven't slept in a day and a half here, and my mind is not entirely lucid. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it would be like a good discipline thing to go there and play 2-3, and just in the gold, not even make money, this and that. It's like, let's try to make the right decision every hand.
Yeah.
Every time you put I think I quoted, that's like, I think the Phil Galfond quote, I remember someone was asking, what if you could tell any newbie poker player, what would be the first thing you tell him? Or maybe it was, if you could tell any losing poker player, what's the best bit of advice you'd give them? And he said, always stop and think before you put any chips in the pot. What is my purpose here?
Oh, that's a good point.
And, because there's like times where you're like, am I 3-betting for value because I'm ahead of the guy's range, or am I just 3-betting to build up the pot because I think he's going to fold off into a C-bet or a double barrel? So there's times where, or you're raising a person, you don't know their stacks in tournaments. I've done that before. Or I'm raising a person without really thinking about their range and their stack size and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I keep going over the same. Right now, I'm just very frustrated, and this is just no way to live.
Yeah.
Poker is a second job / hobby. I mean, we've talked about how cool would it be to play a game for a living.
Yeah.
But it's a game. Now I'm trying to justify that I'll be happier re-entering the workforce. That games are not for, unless you're LeBron James and have some special gift. Nobody, game should be game, something you do on the side. And, I mean, there's a part of me that just shakes especially, I mean, the success last month, I guess, was just like astronomical. Like it's just basically close to impossible to repeat.
I don't think so. I think it's just variance, dude.
Well, yeah, this is for the level of game that I had.
And look at, I mean, if you're playing, another big thing too is playing fresh. Phil Hellmuth talks about that all the time. He's like, he'll sleep and miss like several levels of a tournament just so he can get an extra couple hours of sleep before he goes in there. So to him, it is huge, and it is to me too. But I mean, you just pulled a red eye all night, and then at the end of it, you played heads up. So did the other guy. So I felt that was no. That's true. So maybe you're level there. But imagine had you slept all night and then came in at 5 o'clock in the morning and then played him heads up there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I think I feel like I just got unlucky, but there's like, I just pay people off way too much. Like I said, like he kept hitting rivers and I was just ticked off that he kept doing that. And yeah, I mean, there's like 3 hands in a row. I guess we're going. We won't go back over how unlucky I am. That's kind of lame. No, but when I said how like last month was an aberration, not that there's variance ago, but I mean it's probably gauche to talk about like money in terms of my. But there's one pro I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm having a bad month, and he's like more than 10K, and I'm like shaking his head, and I'm like, but last month I made last month I made like 29K.
Yeah.
And he's like, wow. I said, I can't. He's like, you won't 20K months. And the other guy's standing there. He's like, I've never had a 20K month.
Wow.
So, I mean, like not of the 29K, it was like, I think 8 or 9 or 10 was tournament profits. So, but it was still like around close to 20K but I'm down now since I'm a poker pro, air quotes, because, this month is down now 17 or 18. And the first month I was down 13, so it's like or probably break even.
But you've still had to pay bills and everything too.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, so breaking even is obviously not. I've got to learn to not just bankroll management, but life bankroll management. You know what I mean? I'm always someone to just fill up the gas tank and then realize that there's a place, a half mile down the street, which is 20 cents a gallon cheaper kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or never, like I have, when I get a plane ticket, for Priceline or something, I probably have like points accumulated to use towards a discount or something. I ignore that too.
Well, what, one of the pros, he said, what did he say your biggest weakness was? He said the tilt and the, what was it he said?
Well, I think you were talking to a pro who was like, because you were kind of talking about me, and
yeah.
He said, he's like, Mike's actually better than I am, but he's just, he's going to have problems with the, the tilt and the bankroll management and the whole mental, psychological parts of poker. And that's pretty much right on the money.
So what do you think you could do to handle that?
I don't know, man. I mean, I tell myself right now, it's just, yeah, I don't know. I guess there's been a couple sessions where I've just definitely have been in the zone and been in like a Zen position where I kind of felt like this one session I had, I guess a couple days ago, where I won I won a big pot early and I was up like 1,500 and I ended up leaving 12 hours later up 1,500. And, but I really liked how I played. I mean, like just being card dead and stealing pots and just, and even when I was card dead, I'm like, oh, I like being card dead, kind of joking to the guy next to me. I said, there's no decisions to make. I'm getting Jack Deuce, 17 times in an hour and just being able to. So, I mean, there are models. It's not like it's incapable of playing good poker and playing optimally, at least, or having the optimal emotional mental state. So I've been there. So I have to remember what it is that gets me there. And I don't know what it is. Yeah. I mean, maybe, like for tournaments, I guess, like I said, I'm just a tournament guy. I do better, I should think. I mean, anytime there's a day 2 of a tournament begins or getting ready, I always I always have my earphone in and listen to a couple pieces of classical music I like.
Oh, okay.
So I do have a routine there. So
that's good.
When I pull into the parking lot here, it wouldn't be a bad idea to just take my headphones out and that's what I'm going to do. There we go. I'm not ready to jump to 2-3, even though I should. But next time I go there, I'm not going to enter the building for 3 minutes. I'm going to listen to Dvorak's or Ninth, or one of the symphonies I like. Probably something a little more soothing. That's Dvorak's very anthem-y, if that's a word. Sorry, I told you I'd be flying off on all sorts of tangents, but yeah, that would be a good rule right there. To spend 5 minutes walking around or just thinking about, like you said, even if it's in the mirror or whatever, I'm going to make good decisions today. But even for me, just deep breathing and listening to some music, just anything rather than I just go in there and march and I sit down at the tables. And
if you're going to be there for 12 hours, 3 minutes is nothing.
Right. The other thing I think I'm going to have to do is just do 5-5 with buy. There's no reason I need to have the full buy-in. The one pro I know who's very good, he always buys in for like 800 or 900, which is still at 5-5 is, a lot of big blinds.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get aces like the second hand and someone has kings and you win a big hand, you don't have to say, geez, if I had 1,500, I would have had an extra, $1,400. The fact of the matter is just you want a big hand, and so that would be a logical step, if not to go to 2-3, at least stop buying in for the maximum for a while.
Yeah.
So make my 2 buy-ins can now be 4 buy-ins.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I mean, I gotta just. I can, it's just irresponsible for me to say yes, I know what you're saying, emotionally, mentally, and then just doing nothing. But a lot of it, I don't know how anybody could endure. I think even though the unfragile mind, there's only so much bad luck you can take. To have my optimal mental game right now, I'm like, I just need a couple damn winning sessions. Yeah. To remind me that there's some fairness in poker. You're not, you know what I mean? You're not having someone hit a gutter ball for $3,000 every bloody day. I mean, so yeah, that's kind of what I've been telling myself. Just book a couple sessions. And I mean, obviously this month is now just beyond repair now that I just lost another 5,000 last night into today. So, it's impossible for me to, unless I went to take money out of the bank and play 10-20 and had some miracle session there. But, I'm not even thinking on those lines. But I was today and the day before, like, okay, let's see if we can get the losses in this month down to $5,000-$6,000. After last month, that wouldn't look bad. So maybe that's part of the issue there, that I'm trying to see the whole picture. I don't know. But, man, it's frustrating. I appreciate you listening to all this whining.
Well, look at it. No, that's okay. From the time you started in October until now, are you in the red? Are you barely in the green? What are you?
Yeah, I'm probably barely in the black. I would have to look a little closer. I'm probably down 5,000 at cash and up like 8,000 at tournaments. So I'm probably 3,000 up.
Okay. So in 3 months, you've made $1,000 a month playing poker.
Right.
That's not the greatest hourly, right? It's probably just a few dollars an hour. But over 3 months, you've won. It's just been this immense emotional roller coaster because the limits that you're playing allow for variance to just be up and down and up and down, But over the course of 3 months, you've won.
Yeah. I mean, but that's with like a ridiculous once in a lifetime month. Well, maybe I can't say once in a lifetime, but at those levels, that's a big profit to have for 1 month, what I did last month. No, I mean, all it'll take is another winning session to make me happy again. And I've got no concerns. I'm going to make a living here. I just got to, but, I really haven't figured that out, why I'm so hyper vigilant over just not donking off chips in tournaments where I'm the opposite in cash games for whatever reason, so there's maybe it's just that online experience, like I said, just where I take the matter seriously. And I take the cash game seriously too, especially when you're not playing with chips but actual money here,
Yeah, you can see the $100 bill sitting in front of you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I, my wad of bills in my elastic band to keep feeling it getting thinner and thinner.
Yeah.
Is very dispiriting. But I've discovered I say anyways, and I don't know, with such great frequency, I feel like choking myself. But whatever, I'll have to. I might have to work on that, just from listening to the other podcast.
I've got some idiosyncrasies too. We all do.
Yes, Steve, I might be a frustrating pupil for you here, as you'll keep giving me sound advice about getting in the right emotional mental state to play poker, and just will help with tilt, which is the big issue I'm facing right now. But I'm afraid, like a year from now, we might be having the same. After I break my hand on the side of a casino, and a year after a bad beat, you're gonna be like, Mike, how does it make you feel? I'm like, I feel like a dumbass, of course, but I don't really give a shit. That wall needed punching. Capacity for change here, but there's a lot that needs to be done, to my personal growth before I can, I think, even consider poker as a viable career.
Well, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe getting a regular job will be kind of keep you grounded. And we'll like you said before, it'll kind of give you the value of money and what some people have to do to earn it.
Right. Or I might decide that I'm not good enough at poker and I don't like low wage jobs, and it's time to start robbing banks.
Yeah, well, that's another option too.
This could go in many different directions here. People always say he's learning life lessons. Sometimes those life lessons can be, counterproductive, but no. We'll see. Next time we talk, hopefully I'll be in a better place. And right now, I should be actually just even more frazzled, but I'm just exhausted and whatever. This is the gambler in me too, where I don't even really want to get into that part of my life. But they say that gamblers want to lose. There's definitely. I mean, that's totally true. I mean, whether it manifests itself in poker, I don't know. But like literally, like I would be shooting craps for hours and hours, and I don't know what to say. And then you're living with such tension while that's happening. Like literally like the clenched fists,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
But when it was over, when I finally would crap out and there wasn't any more money to have, I'd be like, this total peace and calm comes over you. I guess different poker players are different here, but it was like there's such a fatigue. If you've been sitting there for a while, it's like, okay, I need a sandwich. I need to go to the bathroom. I need to take a nap before I can drive home. And it's like, and that would put me in that state for like 2 weeks of just total. So this is the second or third big loss I've had where I've just kind of afterwards have just kind of shrugged it off like, oh, thank God poker's over. You know what I mean? Like it's been a way to end the drama, so to speak. But it isn't, of course, because I keep coming back, and then I just can't stop thinking about some of these hands, which I've just butchered in such a obscene manner. I don't know, Steve. I don't know about you. I think I'm sick of hearing myself whine for the day. Maybe we should get in touch soon. But I don't know if you want to quickly, or next time we should talk about your Vegas trip. Hopefully you're winning and coming up with some interesting hands to discuss.
Well, you know what? Maybe, yeah, I got a couple of hands, but you're probably not in the right state of mind to go over them right now. Maybe what we can do is,
no, I'm legitimately too tired to to absorb whatever you'd be talking about in terms of a particular hand.
Yeah. Maybe we can do one Tuesday night. Monday night we're going to see a Vegas show. And maybe we can do a session Tuesday night.
Okay, man. That sounds like a decent idea.
Okay.
Well, let's say goodbye here.
All right, brother. Okay, you have a good one. Get a good sleep, and I think you'll feel better when you wake up.
Okay, man. It's always nice talking to you. Heads up, Poker Podcast, episode 4.
Yes.
And we will be talking to you all very soon.
Okay. Take care, Mike.
Bye, Steve.
Bye.